I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful vintage curl on short hair. First of all, you need some mousse and also some narrow tongs and some section clips. It doesn't matter what strength mousse you have. I do prefer to use a slightly stronger hold, but any mousse will do the job. So spread the mousse evenly through the hair. This will make sure that we have a good strong curl. Then we're going to decide where we want to part Ruby's hair. I think we'll go for her natural parting, and then taking a section of hair that is about sort of half the size of your usual roller section. Then you're going to work a section at a time, and first of all you have to think about which direction you want the wave or the curl to go in. So I want the wave to come over to the side, so I'm going to curl the hair over to this side. I could curl the hair coming backwards, so I'd keep that nice, I'd get a nice little bit of height at the front, but the wave would come in this direction. Or if I wanted a little bit more of maybe that sort of peekaboo fringe where the hair comes forwards and down over the eye, I would curl the hair forwards. But I'm going to bring it over to the side. And the key is you're going to make a really strong curl. So you clamp the tong. You need to have the clamp away from you. Clamp the tong over the hair, low down, close to the scalp. You're then going to turn the tongs towards you and wrap the hair around the tong and keep going around. So basically what you want to do is wrap this hand around, but that's not what you're doing. What you need to do is turn the tong around towards you, and then just this hair is almost being pushed around as the tong turns. As I'm turning the tong, I'm just pressing the clamp and lifting the clamp just a little bit, just so it allows me to turn the tong around. And once I get to the end and that little bit of hair is caught under the clamp, I hold that in position. Then I'm going to loosen the hair on the tong. You can see you've got a really strong curl that holds its shape. If the curl starts to drop down, then you've not done it right. So even with long hair, it should hold that vertical position. You're going to work your way down around the head. If they have a fringe, then you still use the same method. So I'm turning the tong towards me and I'm wrapping the hair underneath the tong. Then I'm going to turn the tong a little bit more. So you can see the tong is actually turning around. And this hair is almost being pushed around by the tong. So then when I can see the clamp again here at the top, I then know it's time to wrap that section, the loose section of hair underneath. And it goes all the way around, turning the tong all the time, loosening the clamp just a little bit until the end of the hair is practically disappeared. And there's a little bit of the fringe section there that's come loose, but we don't need to worry too much about that. And again, we have our vertical curl. Pin those two together. So I'm turning the tongs, lifting up the clamp here just a little bit. I need to lift the clamp in order to turn the tongs. And I'm keeping this section of hair quite close to the hair that's been tonged because I want it to all stay together. One neat curl. Clamp the tongs onto the hair. Put your thumb on the tong, and as you turn the tong, so your right hand is leading the way. So as your right hand turns, it pushes your left hand around and under the tong. And then the right hand carries on turning. And when you can see the top of the clamp on top of here on the tongs, then you know to bring your left hand down. Carry on turning. The clamp pushes that section around. And then you bring this section, once you can see the clamp at the top, you then bring this section down. What you have to be careful of is not to get carried away and start wrapping the hair in the loose hair around the tongs, because that will give you a different curl. Once you've got all the hair wrapped up in the curl around the tong, you then hold it still for just a few seconds. Just let it bake a little bit. Then by loosening the clamp, you can take the tong off the curls. So we've done one side, now we'll start working our way down the left. So clamp the tong on the hair, and then you're going to turn the tongs towards you and wrap the hair around the tong. So your right hand is leading. The hand that holds the tong is the hand that leads. So the left hand, the hand holding the hair, is almost being pushed around and told where to go by your right hand. Keep lifting the clamp. We need to carry on turning until we lose the end of the hair. If you go too far and you let the end of the hair goes through, comes out of and it gets out from underneath the clamp, then you'll find the curl will all loosen and you just need to retighten it again. Turn the tong. Just be careful not to get ahead of yourself and start wrapping the hair around the tong, because it doesn't go with this particular curl. You need to do it the other way around, and you need to turn the tongs. The end, just going to get that underneath the clamp. Get another nice strong curl. I'm just going to pin these two together. So now I'm going to show you how to do the same curl, but instead of using tongs, just regular tongs, just bring your head back a fraction. I'm going to use the Marcel wave tongs, not to create a Marcel wave, but to create a vintage curl. The Marcel waves will be in another tutorial. So now I'm going to start curling the hair back. So it's a slightly different action with the Marcel tongs in that it's not your thumb lifting the clamp, it's your fingers moving the clamp. The action is the same, you just have to be careful not to touch the tip because the Marcel tongs don't have a protective tip on the end. So you need to continue taking sections of the hair all around. Now you can change the direction of the curl, and it will change the direction of the wave at the end. But I'm just going to come, so I've done side to side at the front sections, and I'm just going to come down the back. So if you're working with somebody who has curly hair, you don't need to straighten the hair first. You could just use the tongs to smooth out the curl from the hair first and then curl as normal. So I'm going to clamp the tong onto the hair, turn the tong around, and then start lifting the clamp on the tong as I carry on turning the tongs around, and the tongs then push the hair around. So the tongs are turning first, and this hair is being slowly taken into the curl. Just lose that little end underneath the clamp and hold it there. Let's do the last section. It's a bit trickier at the bottom because the hair is quite short. Okay, so I've tonged Ruby's hair. We're just going to let that cool down, and then we're going to create a beautiful vintage style. So we've let Ruby's curls have time to cool down. They don't take very long, maybe about sort of 10-15 minutes, and then you're ready to take the curls out. Now it will be super curly when you first take the pin curls out, and you can create lots of different looks and lots of different styles. Okay. Just going to run my fingers through the hair a little bit. Let's start brushing through the curl using our bristle brush. And you're almost brushing the curl down to the end of the hair. And I think it would look nice if we just popped a little pin in here. And then we can bring this section up a little bit. So you can see the curl is really flexible. It's strong but flexible, so you can change the direction of the curl. I might bring this up to a little sweep here, and then we're going to have this coming down and forwards and creating a nice little curve here. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to create a victory roll with this section shortly, but I just want to brush out the rest of the hair just to make sure that it's going to work with the whole style. Brush the curl down to the end of the hair. Ruby's hair is quite short, so we have to work with the hair and see what it wants to do. So once you've brushed through the curls, you can decide which style you prefer. You can have the curls maybe turning under at the nape of the neck, or you can have them flicked out at the nape of the neck, or you could maybe sweep them over to the side and create a little bit more of an asymmetrical look. I think it works on that side, and I think our little sort of high little fringe works here. So let's create a victory roll on this side here. So I'm just going to brush through the back now. So to get a victory roll, you need a triangular section of hair from the crown down to just in front of the ear, and then we're going to back comb the hair here. So you're going to back comb a section at a time. And you want it really strong at the root. I use my back combing comb. bit of hairspray. So you can see it's almost sort of standing on its own. That's the amount of backcomb that you need in the hair. I'm going to smooth out the surface of the hair. So instead of trying to roll the hair up from the end, you find it easier if you put your hand on the hair and roll the hair around your finger. Then you can bring your finger out, check in the mirror. I think we need to just smooth it out a little bit more here. Hand on the head, roll the hair around the finger. And create your victory roll. Hold it in place until you get your curber grip, and you're just going to slide the curber grip down the back of the roll. Just hold it in place so it's a nice firm roll. We might just pin the hair back here. We'll just pop a flower into the hair. So we've created our victory roll. Now let's finish it off at the back here. And I think it would look lovely if we maybe swept the hair all over to one side and give Ruby a vintage Hawaiian look. So I'm going to twist the hair around and just give it a little turn here at the back. And let's put a little grip down that pleat. And we're going to use our up and over technique to secure that little pleat in place. So we've got our first vintage style using the vintage curl, with a little victory roll and just a little side sweep over to the right. So I've brushed the victory roll out. You can see we've still got a lot of curl left. So we can just play with it a little bit. These curls leave you sort of free to use your imagination to create any look you like. So you can play around with the hair and create different shapes and different looks and wait till you, and just work out something that suits your bride. And I think a little bit of extra width here at the side would balance nicely with the fringe section here. So I'll just twist that round a little bit and secure that in place just here. So using one of my small curber grips just down the back of the pleat, and then I use my up and over technique just to secure that into place. And then we could maybe have a little flower or detail again just at the side here. So I've just combed the fringe a little bit so it's got a nice sort of curve at the front here. So it sort of finishes off, gives it a real vintage look, but we can always try it curled the other way to see whether we prefer it with a slightly softer fringe at the front. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, just click like and subscribe and join me on my next video.